Hi everyone, Spider-Man 1991 here, and I'm here, and it's time for another DVD movie review. This time I'm going to be reviewing Superman vs. the Elite. This movie is based off of the issue of Action Comics, issue 775, known as "What's So Funny About Truth, Justice, and the American Way." The issue. First of all, let me point out that this is the Blu-ray DVD Blu-ray combo pack. It was the only one available at my local Best Buy. I went there because I found a gift card that still had money on it, and I was going to just get the single edition, but this was the only edition they had, and I just figured, what the hell. I mean, it has a DVD copy, so, I could just watch the DVD of that, and it can give me some incentive to buy a Blu-ray player, because a lot of the special features are featured on the Blu-ray version of this movie. Okay, so back to the Superman versus the Elite. Okay, the issue it's based on, unlike most superhero DC animated movies, which are usually based on like story arcs that are like 4 or 5 issues. This one's just based on a 1-issue story, and the issue and Action Comics 775 was basically just a response towards superheroes that were pretty ultra violent, and instead of arresting their enemies, they just outright killed them. I think this was mostly the Elite are based off of a comic from Wildstorm known as The Authority, and it's pretty much basically a story of like classic heroics, Superman versus the modern anti-hero approach, the Elite. Basically, the Elite are a superpowered team. Basically, in the movie, the Elite are a team of superpowered anti-heroes that are formed by Manchester Black, and Black and his team of heroes, which consist of the Hat, who's like a sorcerer and some stuff out of his pork pie hat. Cold Cast, who has the ability to absorb and disperse energy, and God, I can't remember the third member. What was her name? The Dragon Lady. I remember in the movie Superman mentioned that her name was Pam, but my computer's right here, so I can just look it up. It's Menagerie. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, yep, that's it. Yeah, that's it. Menagerie. Sorry about that. But okay, basically they're pretty much a team of like anti-heroes. Really, they go around rather than arresting people who break crimes, they just outright kill them, which is just something Superman doesn't do, and thinks that's wrong of them to even do this. And eventually people start liking the Elite better than Superman because they're eliminating the problem instead of like Superman, who arrests them and pretty much lets the judge and jury take care of the decision of what to do with the criminal, basically lock him up. The Elite just pretty much in a way play God and kill the guy, even though Superman states that he doesn't want to be he's not the judge and jury and executioner. The Elite are the opposite, and they just and they pretty much state that they're the ones with the power, they make the decisions. And again, the people's response to the Elite is, well, once the Elite make themselves known, everyone's jumping on the bandwagon, and they're all going, yeah, they're all pretty much seeing this, and they're like, well, Superman's not unlike Superman, these guys are taking the problem out for good, and I like them better for that. And there is this one scene that I remember that I really do remember from the issue of Action Comics that is used for this movie. It's almost exactly the same. It's like these kids are playing on there's these 4 kids playing on a playground. 3 are dressed up like the Elite, and another kid's dressed up like Superman, and he says that he doesn't want to play as Superman because Superman doesn't get to kill anyone, and that's just lame. And that's one of the decisions that gets Superman to finally confront the Elite. And basically, what happens when Superman confronts the Elite is that he basically goes into a big fight sequence with them, and at first it looks like the Elite have defeated Superman, but he fights back, and he makes it look, and the Elite are also filming this and broadcasting it all over the planet, and Superman basically makes it look like he's attacking and killing the Elite, and in the end, though, he basically reveals that he didn't kill anyone, and he pretty much tells everyone that it is dangerous to solve more violence with just more violence, and people start seeing how dangerous it could be if you let guys with power go completely dark and make the decision to kill every criminal and stuff. It's still a good story. I do like this movie a lot. It is a great movie because, while true, I was a little skeptical when it came out because it's not a full 3-4 issue story arc. It's one issue, and I was wondering how they were gonna expand that for like an hour, but they were able to do that. They were able to. I mean, I remember I read the actual issue when it was reprinted with Superman the Greatest Stories Ever Told. After I think reading the actual issue only took me 10 minutes, but when I got to the movie, they've actually expanded that. I mean, they actually had to add some stuff like Manchester Black, even though he's pretty much the leader of the Elite, and I would say he's the main antagonist, as opposed to the whole Elite as a whole. And they basically go into some stuff about Black's story and stuff, how he got his powers, how he came to be and stuff. So that works for the movie, and it really helps it, and it's a great movie. It's basically Superman, who's the classic hero, the Boy Scout, the guy who's pretty much Mr. Right, Mr. follows the rules, makes sure everyone does the right thing, versus the pretty much anti-hero symbol that appeared in the comics for during the mid 80s to mid 90s type of deal. I would also George Newbern, casting wise though, Superman's voiced by George Newbern, who is also the voice who also did the voice of Superman for the Justice League series. That was a great decision. It's someone familiar that people will recognize. They could be watching this and go like, "Oh, hey, this is the same guy who voiced Superman for Justice League." That's great. So yeah, I applaud that decision. Obviously they couldn't get Tim Daly, but they went with George Newbern, and I'd say he's probably my second favorite Superman voice actor. In the end, though, I think Superman fans are going to like this movie a lot. Okay, it's basically Superman standing up for his morals, the things he believes in, and versus what everyone else thinks, versus pretty much the whole anti-hero ideal, which I'm not a big fan of. I don't like it when heroes just kill their villains. If there's no other option and it's a very difficult decision that's going to haunt them, yeah, I can sort of get that. But if they're just going to go kill the villain almost every single time they go into battle, then they're no better than the villains they're fighting. And that's pretty much what the Elite is. When you start to see, when at the start of the movie they just appear to be like some sort of new group of heroes, but then as it progresses you start to realize, wow, these guys are super violent and messed up. So thankfully Superman is able to set them straight, and kind of let them learn that they are not, that just because they have powers, they're not the law. They have to they have laws and rules for a reason. They need to listen to them. So yeah, again, Superman. I would highly recommend this to Superman fans everywhere. if I have friends who don't really think Superman's that great, I would show them this movie because when we get to the end with the huge fight between the Elite, Superman does. It does look like Superman's going dark there. I mean, I read the issue, but for someone who hasn't, they're going to be shocked by the way Superman acts during, like, the second half of the final fight. They're going to be, well, wait, did Superman just do all that? I think this would be a great movie for Superman fans and non-Superman fans. It's another, I mean, the thing about, I don't think I've ever had a DC animated movie that I didn't like. And that's what's great about these animated movies is that they have a lot of good potential and they're amazing. In general, I like DC, all the recent DC animated movies, and I did enjoy Superman the Elite. It's definitely going to be in my probably going to be in my top favorite animated movies now. Okay, so that's pretty much my review of Superman the Elite. Now I want to take some time to talk about the next DC animated project, which is going to be based on the comic book Batman: The Dark Knight Returns. For those of you who don't know, Batman: The Dark Knight Returns was a story done by Frank Miller in, I think, the late 80s. Basically, it takes place, it's a 40-year in the future. Bruce Wayne has retired. It's been years since Bruce Wayne has been Batman. He's old, gray hair, and Dick Grayson's gone, and Jason Todd is dead, and it's basically set in this sort of alternate future where Gotham is overrun by a gang known as the Mutants, and Commissioner Gordon's also really old and he's getting ready to retire. But then one night, old Bruce Wayne's walking down the street. He nearly gets mugged, and then suddenly that helps reawaken the fire in him, and he goes back to being Batman. And shortly after Bruce redons his costume, he's joined by Carrie Kelly, who soon joins his crusade as the new Robin. And that's also the first female Robin in comics. Well, I think she was the first female Robin, yeah. I think that's about right. So, Dark Knight, and also for the Dark Knight Returns movie, they're going to have Batman's going to be voiced by Peter Weller, who was RoboCop. I have seen. Oh yeah, you do get a sneak peek with this DVD though. That's not just on the Blu-ray DVD combo pack. I believe that's on all editions of the movie. So whichever version you buy, you'll be able to see the sneak peek, and it does look amazing. And it does seem like they are putting a lot of effort into this because this is one of the most popular Batman story arcs. The one thing I regret about that, though, is that they're apparently splitting it up into two parts. They did announce, when they announced the movie, they did say that there were going to be two parts to it. But I thought that part 1 was going to be The Dark Knight based on The Dark Knight Returns, and part 2 would have been the sequel to the comic, which was The Dark Knight Strikes Back. But apparently I'm wrong, because I think for part 1 they're going to cover the first half of the comic series, which deals with Batman dealing with reemerged Harvey Two-Face. Well, I mean, Harvey Dent comes back to crime, except after he gets reconstructive surgery to look normal, he becomes Two-Face, reverts back to his Two-Face persona, and also he deals with the leader of the new criminal gang that's overrunning Gotham, known as the Mutants. So that pretty much covers part 1. Part 2, though, I think deals with Return of the Joker, which was also a big part of the comic book. And I think they're taking the same approach that a lot of studios are doing now with with movies based on books like Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, Twilight Breaking Dawn, and The Hobbit. They're splitting them up into two parts so that they can get the most of the story onto the screen. Although really, the way the length of most of these DC movies they've been like maybe an hour to an hour and a half. So, I think it depends on how long the part one is. If part one's like an hour long and part two is going to be another hour long, that's just ridiculous because they could just combine the two into a 2-hour movie and be done with it and just release it as one part. But if they are going to put as much of the comic into the story, I mean, if they're going to adapt it the same way they adapted Batman Year One, which I think I noted that in my review of the movie, it was the word for word adaptation, then that's a good decision, and I highly applaud that. If not, though, if it's each part's gonna be like just an hour long, they could have just combined it, and it would have been ridiculous. But nevertheless, I'm still gonna watch the movie when it comes out, when part one comes out later in the fall. I'm definitely gonna check it out, and I'll put up a review of it to let you know what I think of it. Hopefully, I will not be disappointed because the way everyone who worked on the movie was talking during the sneak peek, they were all very happy about it. They were proud of their work, so hopefully it will be another hit just like all the other DC animated movies. And I've really enjoyed them, so there's no disappointment. Anyways, back to the original topic. Sorry I went off track there, but Superman vs. the Elite, it's still a great movie. It will definitely make Superman fans happy, and if you have someone who kind of doesn't like Superman or thinks that Superman isn't relevant anymore, show them this because it might change their mind. Might being the key word here. So that's all for now. Spider-Man 1991 saying see you later, and thanks for watching.